Sons of Anarchy, Season 7, Episode 2 is over, but we're just getting started here on Sons of Anarchy Live on post-show recaps. And now, here are the two guys who just got back from Tiggs's mom's house, Rob Sestrino and Josh Wigler. Josh, how are you doing?
Oh my, Rob, that was quite an extravaganza, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it certainly was. It certainly was. Oh my God, that was so quick.
It was very fast.
Very fast that we are right here into episode number 2 of the final ride. Only, 11 episodes to go until the end of Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, man, we're fast moving ahead on this season, and things just seem to be getting worse and worse.
Well, here we are. We are live on Tuesday night, right after the episode, September 16th. Special thanks to everybody who's watching us in the archives, both on our YouTube channel and on our podcast feed, which you can get on iTunes at postshowrecaps.com/sons iTunes. postshowrecaps.com/sons iTunes. We always appreciate it when you subscribe and also leave us your feedback and ratings because it helps more and more people find the show. We've been doing well on the iTunes charts, Josh. Lots of people jumping on board for the final ride.
Oh my God! Well, you know what? There is. I think that there's something in the air about this final season of Sons of Anarchy. I think people could smell the blood in the air. It's coming. Mr. Mayhem is on his way.
Mr. Mayhem is on the way. And, of course, the show did its biggest numbers yet here in the 7th season. Almost 10 million viewers for the premiere episode of Sons of Anarchy Season 7. So, huge debut for the final ride.
Yeah, I think those are some of the best numbers FX has ever put up. Rob, you're a little late to the game on the Sons of Anarchy train, but were you aware that it was kind of this big of a juggernaut, that this was really a show that really a ton of people come to?
You know, it's funny because there are some shows that build over time, and Breaking Bad was the same way where it did its best numbers in its final season. But there are other shows like Mad Men which have seemed to have lost steam along the way, even though the show in quality has not really gone down. But it's just very interesting. I don't know if it's like a Netflix effect because some of those other shows like Mad Men are widely available on Netflix. It's just really like a word of mouth and buzz, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I think Kurt Sutter really loves his fans, too. I think he tends to play the show to the people who really have stuck around, and he gives them what they want. And I think that this is a really bingeable show. I think I certainly know when I have friends who ask me, what show should I be watching right now? What can I catch up on? What's on Netflix? Sons of Anarchy is one of the first ones that I'll say. It's a really watchable show. You can cruise through it in the summer, apparently, Rob. I think that's how a lot of people find the show.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there have been some shows, there's some serialized dramas that seem to really dislike their fans or try to keep their fans at arm's length. And I'm looking at you, Sopranos, maybe even Mad Men I would put in that category. But this is a show that really does love the people who love the show, and they do want to reward them for sticking in there.
Yeah, even in an episode where maybe not a ton happens on the surface, like perhaps the one we've just watched, at least that episode will include Jax Teller shooting a couple of dudes. Somebody's going to get shot on Sons of Anarchy. Something terrible is going to happen every single week without fail. So it's always exciting, at least. There's always a little something to talk about on any given episode of Sons of Anarchy.
All right, so let's just set up the board here tonight. We are, of course, live, and we have our chat room open on postshowrecaps.com. You can chat with us live while you watch the show, and then also we're following along on Twitter with the hashtag PSRecaps, and then as well as on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. And I was very encouraged by the big response we had to last week's show on YouTube, Josh.
Yeah, it seems like people are, I don't know, are they liking it?
Yes, they're loving it.
Loving it?
Best part of Sons of Anarchy, I've heard.
This is better than Anarchy Afterward? Is that something we're comfortable saying?
Did you check out Anarchy Afterward?
No, I'm not looking at the competition, Rob. I need to stay fresh. I need to stay focused. I'll catch up on Anarchy Afterward after the season.
No, I wanted to watch it last week, and I just never got back around to check it out. But I think it's a good idea. I should check it out. Anyway, so all right.
Tell me how it is then. Is Chris Hardwick hosting?
No, I think somebody else.
But he hosts all of these things, right?
Well, no, not on FX.
Doesn't he host everything now? He hosts everything.
Only if it's on AMC.
Even if it's a genre show, he should host them all.
He should. He absolutely should. But unfortunately, that's just not how the world works. But life's not fair.
It's unfortunate. It's unfair.
It's unfortunate. Anyway, so all right, let's talk about some of the big stories here tonight in episode number 2. Was it Toil and Till?
Toil and Till. R.I.P. Filthy Phil. I don't know. It
Oh.
kind of rhymes.
All right, so let's talk about our top stories, and I guess the biggest thing going on is we get some insight into Jax's plan, which is happening, and so I think that we are going to see this unfold over the next couple episodes, and unfortunately for Jax, it's really going on some faulty information from Gemma that he is planning this whole revenge fantasy against Lynn and his forces.
Oh yeah, and I mean we certainly saw the beginnings of that with last week's episode, with the season premiere, with Gemma identifying the member of the Lynn Triad, and Jax taking a fork to the guy's head after slashing him and filling him with salt and really just torturing him to death. So we certainly knew that Jax has it out for the Triad, and this week's episode really punctuated that fact to the extent that his plan is elaborate. Rob, what did you think of Jax's plan for how he plans to get back at Henry Lynn for what happened to Tara?
Yeah, it's a real Tarantino-esque revenge fantasy that Jax is building. So they're going to concoct this whole thing where they're going to just keep hitting Lynn's forces, and they're going to hit him, and they're going to hit him, and they're going to hit him, and then they're going to keep saying, I don't know what's happening. It's not us. It's not us. We have an alibi. We were hanging out. We were at the porn store. What are you talking about? And say, okay, don't worry, we'll find these guys, and they're just going to keep hitting him, and then Lynn is going to say, Jax, buddy, I need help, what's going on? He says, don't worry, I'll help you out. And then he's going to say, haha, not so fast, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, he's going to pull off his fake mustache. I am the Count of Monte Cristo.
That's right. And it's okay. All right, pick one person that you get to save. You get a veto on somebody. Who do you want to save? Tell me your favorite person. And then it's like, oh, okay. Just don't kill my dog. And then that's gonna be the first person Jax kills. Then he's gonna kill everybody. Then he's gonna let Lynn live for a little bit and think about it. And then he's gonna kill Lynn.
Yeah, as slowly and painfully as possible.
Yeah.
It's ambitious.
Last week when he wanted everybody at the table to be all in, I didn't know. I misheard Jax. I thought he wanted everybody to be all in. Apparently, everybody needed to be all in all the time, thinking about revenge and murder.
All in on Lynn all the time. It is all in on Lynn on Sons of Anarchy right now. Yeah, there is. Jax Teller has it out for this guy, and not that Henry Lynn is a good guy. Easy on the racial slurs in this episode, Henry Lynn. But he is innocent in this, at least. He did not kill Tara. Jax's mother killed Tara, and Jax is not even about to. He has waged holy war on the Lynn Triad under completely false information, and there is no way this ends well. I think, we talked about this a lot in our preseason chat. We talked about it a lot during the season premiere recap, Rob. More and more we are plunging into darkness. More and more we are driving away from any hope of a happy ending, I feel like. But even more than that, I think the happy ending for Jax is what he describes to Jury, his pal from the Indian Hills in this episode, who maybe isn't his pal anymore based on the end of the episode. But when he outlines basically his vengeance plan, by outlining that in such specific, vivid detail, 100% guarantee that it is not going to play out.
Right. Absolutely.
There's zero chance. And I think we see the beginnings of that with the end of this episode. He pins the blame on the attack on the Triad. He pins that on the two random white jabronis who helped him out earlier in the episode, who Jax took for granted were he thought that they were just recommended by the Indian Hills. He didn't realize that Jury had a very serious connection to at least one of these guys, and I think we could talk about what that connection may have actually been. But it's what Jax says to him earlier in the episode. He says, I don't have a vision anymore. All I see is what's right in front of me. And because of that, Jax is not thinking clearly. He's not thinking with enough detail to realize it's the little things that can blow this whole thing wide open. And he may have just made a huge enemy in somebody who is part of the Sons of Anarchy. That's a really big problem, and this is a guy that he told his entire plan to. Not only that, just to keep going for a minute here,
You're wound up.
Is that Jury is in, the last time we see him, he is at the murder site of these two guys who have been set up for the Triad hit. And this is after Bobby Munson has basically called the Triad and said, hey, I know where your guys are. Come to take a look at any time. So if Jury doesn't decide to take some action on his own, what happens if the Triad gets there first and sees Jury there, and they take this son of anarchy who knows a whole lot about Jax's plan? This whole thing could really be on a razor's edge of exploding.
Okay, so many different things from what you talked about to sort of unpack. Let me just start digging into some of them. You mentioned the line where Jax is talking to Jury and talking about, I don't have a vision anymore. I just can only see what's in front of me. And that line for me, tell me if you felt the same way. I felt like Clay several times between season 5 and season 6 said the same exact thing. And in talking with Gemma, last season when he's like trying to like apologize to her, and he's like, Gemma, I just see what's in front of me. And that's one of the things that, like, I know that he's said exactly those same words, that he's a guy who just sees what's in front of him and he goes after it. And so I feel like that's one of the big themes of this season, that everything that Jax does not like about Clay, he has absolutely become.
Yeah, he's become the thing he hates. He has turned into Clay, and it's a really interesting shift for the character, for this guy who really wanted to bring the club back closer to JT's vision before JT died. Now he has become JT's murderer. He has become JT's killer. He's killed his father's dreams all over again. And the type of just the acts that we are seeing Jax commit, the murders we're seeing him commit, are kind of very much in the Clay mold. They are, I'm thinking back to when Clay killed Piney, when he, came to Piney's cabin and, kind of puts on an act and gets Piney feeling, disarmed, and then he comes back and he strong arms him and he shotguns him in the chest. That felt kind of similar to what happened tonight when Jax and Chibs and Bobby came to the two guys' house. They're like, hey, here's your drugs. Thanks so much again. You guys want to party? Is anyone else coming? No one else is coming? All right, shotgun to the chest and bullet to the brain. So Jax is just acting like Clay. I think that's a very astute observation. Jax is turning into Clay.
Okay, then let's talk about Jury and the way that he is holding one of the guys that has been killed. Reasonable to assume that this is Jury's son?
It could be his son, it could be his nephew, it could be his cousin, could be his lover. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, that's a little... the guy seemed a little young. I mean, is Jury robbing the cradle?
Hey, listen, man. Sometimes you do what you got to do. Didn't seem illegal.
I don't know. The way that they sort of intercut the shots between, Jax holding Abel and Jury holding that other guy, I think you really have to believe that is his kid.
I think that's a good assumption. I think no matter what the case is, Jax effed up pretty big here. This is a big mistake. And you also get the sense that Jury has connected this.
Yeah, because they have to be the only people that knew who these guys were. Like, Jury was there. He knows that these guys didn't hit the cartel, or I'm sorry, the Triad pickup. So he knows that they were not the sole parties responsible, and they didn't end up with the drugs, right? And so he knows that this definitely stinks.
Yeah, does he connect anything by seeing the shotgun? Is this, was this an episode? Was this a weapon that was used earlier in the episode? Do you remember?
Chekhov's shotgun?
Chekhov's shotgun. It always goes off.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and rewatch and take a look specifically for the shotgun, but especially the fact that the drugs are there, and he knew those guys didn't have the drugs, and for those guys to just have like a brick of, what was it, cocaine on the table?
I think it was heroin.
Brick of heroin, whatever,
the real stuff.
It all looks the same to me, Josh. I can't even. Anyway.
You played that off convincingly, Rob. Good job. Good job.
Anyway, so for him to walk in and see that on the table, I think he's got to know something's up.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm very curious as to how it plays out. What do you think? Does this become old man jury with a grudge? Does it become jury's going to get picked up by the triad and maybe he's going to spill the beans to them? How do you see this shaking out?
I wonder if he's going to talk
Or is
talk
it going to be like he's going to confront Jax in like 5 minutes and Jax is just going to pop him?
Well, I think then that's the end of a lot of drama, especially okay. So if the triad is coming there, and then if they're going to pick him up, then I gotta think that jury is going to spill the beans that the MC had something to do with this. And so the part of the story about hey, it wasn't us. I don't know what keeps happening. That's so weird. And I think that's the part that's not going to hold water.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Jax Teller, what are you doing, buddy? You should be listening to your pal August Marks.
It's also interesting that not only did Gemma kill Tara, but to go back to your point about, the vision for the club, Gemma also killed that vision for the club that day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's destroyed the club. And she has a very interesting line in the premiere where she talks about how she's the only thing holding this family together. She's the only thing, or she is the thing that has torn this family apart. Not the only thing, but she's the thing that really caused this shitstorm. She's responsible. It's Hurricane Gemma is ripping through Charming. So she's got a pretty high opinion of herself for somebody who is going to bring a whole lot of death to her family's doorstep.
All right, Jax is dealing with that throughout most of the episode. Also, in the episode, there was a lot going on with Unser and Juice, and the whole thing with Unser and Juice, where Unser was tied up and Juice had him captured, that all unraveled pretty quickly.
Yeah, Juice is like, nah, I can't kill you. You're Unser. You're Josh's pick to survive the season. I can't do that to you.
It really was. I found that to be a little implausible, the whole thing of, once you have Unser tied up, and once you have him, like, bound and gagged in the bathtub, I don't think you could just come back and say, nah, Unser, come on. And he was so cool about it. And then, Juice let him go, and Juice like, Unser, what are you doing? Get out of here. Come on. And he's like, I got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, he's like, hey, kid, you need my help?
Yeah. That Juice says to Unser, hey, what if I change my mind? Unser's like, you won't.
Yeah. How do you know, Unser? Well, I guess Unser isn't afraid of death because he has lived with it for so long. This is a man who should have died a long time ago. The fact that he is alive is nothing short of a miracle. So I think that's kind of part of Unser's bravado is, he can say what he wants, he can do what he wants because he's the old man who's dying of cancer, and what are you going to do about it? Kill me? That's why he was so ballsy with Clay, back in seasons 5 and seasons 4, season 6. He'd never really had a problem facing down Clay when Clay was really on the warpath. So I think that's always been something about Unser is it's almost like he operates on God mode. So this thing with Juice, probably not the worst thing that's happened to him. And also, I think Unser says an interesting thing about Juice, where he's like, yeah, he's kind of like a kid. He's not too savvy. And I think that certainly applies based on other things that we see Juice do in this episode, namely leave Wendy's house and then come right back to Wendy's house and call Chibs. So Juice is not necessarily the smartest kid out there.
Yeah, one more note on Unser until we talk about Juice a little bit. Unser, only character in the show with a terminal illness in season 1, episode 1, outlives every other character on the show.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I think Unser for the win. I think Unser's going to make it.
He's unbreakable.
Although we shouldn't leave Unser without talking a little bit more about Unser because, yes, he's out of the bathtub. Yes, he's out of, Juice's clutches, but maybe he has just fallen into Gemma's clutches. Now that Gemma knows that Unser is working with Charming PD and is investigating Tara's homicide, that's not good news.
Now, Josh, did that hold water for you, the whole that Patterson has appointed a new sheriff and she wants her to work with Unser as a consultant? Were you buying that the charming PD would go back to the Unser well?
I think that Tyne Patterson wants to she wants to she's really run out of options. She's been looking into this murder of Tara for days and days and days, and she has no leads and no one is talking to her. And I think that she knows that Unser has a relationship with the club, has vast information of Charming's history, and I think that he could be an asset. And what's the worst that happens? He says no, or he rats to the club. It's not going to be much worse than how things currently are. So I feel like she doesn't have a lot to lose by asking for Unser's help.
I mean, I just don't know what exactly they're gaining by giving Unser police clearance. I know why the show needs to do it, because they need Unser to be sort of pulling at some of these strings to make really the season happen. But I just don't know why anybody in authority would say, you know who we need back on the case, back on the payroll? Unser.
Well, it's not like they're paying him a ton of money. He's got some health insurance. That's
he
nice.
lives at he lives at the gas station. Or
Rob, that's perfect. He's the mole. Unser's the moly 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 mole. This is
my
good.
God.
That's great. That's great for Charming PD.
Yeah. And then Unser, he goes he goes from Juice goes to the police station. He gets the files to open up Tara's murder, and then goes right to Teller Morrow, and then talks to Gemma and tells her everything that, or a bunch of things that he knows about how he's seen Juice and all this stuff, and then goes and takes a nap with all of the files right in, plain view.
Well, he is an old man dying of cancer, so he doesn't have all of his wits about him. And I think that he's always had blinders on when it comes to Gemma. But yeah, this was a bad move. I think if you have these files, maybe hide them under your mattress, maybe, sleep on top of them. I don't know. Do a better job at covering your tracks here. I gotta say, I really was worried in that scene where Gemma comes into the trailer and sees this paperwork. I was not about to put it past Gemma that she wouldn't just murder him right then and there, especially with the tea as an excuse, maybe poison him. I was a little nervous.
Who's more in danger of getting murdered by Gemma in the coming weeks, Juice or Unser?
Unser, I think. Because I don't think Juice dying at Gemma's hand has a ton of weight. I think when Juicy goes, and Juicy's going to go. Juicy's got to go. I think Juicy has to go at the hand of a member of the club or in service of the club in some capacity. Whereas I think Unser, there would be a lot of poetry to him dying at the hand of the woman he loves. So I could see that. I hope not, because I want Unser to live. But I could see Gemma killing Unser easier than I could see Gemma killing Juice.
Has Unser put two and two together at all about how, he went to go talk to Gemma? He was the one that told Gemma about Jax was going to turn himself in. He knows that she was messed up. She escaped with his truck. Nobody found her. Nobody could find her the whole day. Yada yada yada. And Tara ends up dead.
It doesn't seem like it, does it?
Then, on top of that, Juice is missing. Gemma's the only one that knows where Juice is. She's hiding Juice. And it seems like he's investigating the murder, but it doesn't seem like that he has Gemma as a suspect.
Two options that I can think of is one that no, he is just completely whiffing on this. He has his blinders on when it comes to Gemma, and that's consistent with everything we know about Unser, I think. So that's certainly possible. The other possibility is he feeling this out? Is he intentionally, coming to her with what he knows about Juice, leaving out his suspicions about maybe her role in Tara's death, leaving out the paperwork to get her nervous? Is this something that Unser is intentionally trying to coax out of her, or is that above his pay grade?
I say no, because I think that what we've seen from Unser in the past is when, Unser has a certain, moral lines that he's not going to cross. And I feel like when that he gets indignant about things sometimes. And I think if either of those two people, if he thought either of them had any involvement in Tara's murder, like for instance, like when the new sheriff asks him about Juice, he's like, Juicy, he's a good kid, he's dumb, he's an idiot, and I don't think that he would be that way if he suspected him of murdering Tara.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. That's a good point.
So I'm not sure where Unser is going with this, and I'm not sure. I think he just feel like if he can crack the case, then the MC is going to be happy.
I think that he had a personal connection with Tara, and when we start the new season, he's the only one at her grave. When we're getting that opening montage of everybody on the show, where do we see Unser? We see him at Tara's. So I think that that Unser feels like he owes it to Tara and probably owes it to himself to figure out what happened here, to solve this case, and to get a little peace for a woman who died so unpeacefully. So I think that I kind of think that, there's like a cowboy quality to Unser. I really love this character. I think Wayne Unser is a really great character.
Spinoff?
I would watch
Call Unser?
I would watch Better Call Unser. I think that there really is. I think that there's a cowboy quality to this guy. He's like one of those old heroes who he stands for something. And sure, he's had his share of bad times, and he's been corrupt along the way. But I think that his heart has always been in the right place. And I think as he's kind of been living with death for so long, I think he is taking a long, hard look back on the life that he's lived, and I think that he wants to do something right in his final days here. So I've always been fascinated by the Unser character. I think he's great. I think Dayton Cali is a fantastic actor. Ever since Deadwood, I've been a fan of this guy. So I really think that I think that he could really be a big part of this final season. I think that he's in a good position, or he might just get killed, which is equally likely given where everybody is right now.
Better Call Unser, does it pick up where Sons of Anarchy ends, or is it a prequel?
It's a flexible timeline.
Oh.
So there's a little bit of sequel, a little bit of prequel, and sometimes there are scenes that take place during Sons of Anarchy, so you can get the Ron Perlman cameos.
Oh my God, well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are you listening, FX? Greenlight that.
And Michael McKean plays his brother.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
oh my God, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some of the other things that were going on. Let's talk about Nero, who had a lot to do in this episode, because he's splitting time with hanging out with Gemma, he's splitting time going on errands with Wendy to go take the boys to preschool, and then he also ends up involved with Lynn saying, I need you to bring me Jax Teller. So what part of Nero do you want to pick up on?
I don't know. I think Nero is just in a rough spot. He is caught up in the middle of this whole thing, and it does not look so good for Nero.
Where's the Nero and Wendy story going?
That's a good question. Are they going to be the sane people that are going to fall in love and raise Jax's kids when Jax is either dead or behind bars?
Boy, they've really painted Nero out to be a very good character and very likable character. And Nero almost is a guy who has very few flaws and has one of the stronger moral compasses of the show. I
mean, he's shot a few people in the head.
Yes, but
who hasn't?
But in this universe, he does it when he is trying to help people.
Sure. Who hasn't shot somebody in the head on Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
I feel like you're not alive at this point on Sons of Anarchy unless you've shot somebody in the head.
That's right.
But no, you're right. He has a very strong moral center. Other than that, I think that he was a guy who successfully got out of the game for a while, and kind of got pulled back in, with his association with Gemma, and therefore Jax, and therefore the Sons, and everything with getting in business with the Sons, with the porn studio. So he's gotten pulled back in, and he is. He's trying to keep people safe. He's trying to keep people from killing each other. I think that's really going to blow up in his face pretty soon. There's only so much this guy is going to be able to do. He's going to have to pick a side.
Where do you think the Wendy story is going to go?
I don't think you can kill Wendy. Do you think that they can kill Wendy?
I'm not sure why they would. I don't know what piece of information Wendy would have. I mean, typically on Sons of Anarchy, somebody knows something they shouldn't know, and then they have to die. And so Wendy knows nothing.
Well, what if Gemma wants to clean up every single trace of Juice?
That she knows that Juice was living at the apartment. Boy, that'd be a lot of people to kill,
It'd be a lot of people to kill. It would be
including
not easy
Juice.
work. It wouldn't be easy work.
Yeah. So I think that would be really a very murderous spree that Gemma's going to have to go on here this season.
I think it would be really crappy to kill Wendy after killing Tara. I think you gotta keep one of these women alive. You don't seem to feel that optimistic about Gemma, and I certainly could see Gemma dying, or at least going to prison or something terrible happening to Gemma. I feel like you got to give one of these characters outside of the club, and certainly one of the female characters, I think needs to have a happy-ish ending. So
Yeah.
I think Wendy's gotta survive, and she's really turned. She's turned that ship around. She's come such a long way, and I think to lose Tara and then to lose Wendy after Wendy's become such a solid person, that would really suck. I would be pretty pissed off if they killed Wendy.
I
They
think
would really have to sell it to me for me to be okay with them killing Wendy off.
if we had our draft over again, I think I would pick Wendy as the character that I feel most secure about her making it to the end of the season.
Yeah, I could see it. I certainly hope so. I would be really bummed if they killed Wendy off.
What were our predictions? You said you thought Jax was going to die, and I said I thought he was going to live.
Yeah, I think Jax is going to die. You have Gemma.
Yeah.
You think Gemma's going to die. I think she's going to live. And then I think Unser is going to live, and you think Unser is definitely going to die.
Yes, I think, you know what, at this point, if you ask me, I think all three of those guys are going to die.
Yeah, I think everyone's toast.
I think so. I'm coming around a little bit on Unser. I think at this point, I think Jax is going to die, Gemma's going to die, Unser's going to live.
Unser is the last man standing. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I could see Unser, like, standing over Gemma's grave at the end also.
Yeah, just like, smoking a joint.
Yeah.
I told you, Gem.
She was good. She was a good dame.
Is that Unser or Rudy?
it's Unser.
I don't
know. So, can we talk about the scene between Abel and Gemma? Because that really broke my heart, that scene.
Where's Mommy?
Yeah, or is Mommy in heaven?
How do you know? All angels go to heaven.
Yeah.
I've heard of All Dogs Go to Heaven. Is All Angels Go to Heaven a spinoff?
I don't know. I thought they already were in heaven, the angels.
I think so. It was very sad, very touching scene. This is a very difficult thing, and I think, more than it is touching, it's creepy because the woman that he's asking these questions is the one who killed his mother. It's really awkward. It's very awkward. I don't like seeing Gemma in these types of scenes right now because I'm so mad at Gemma, and she's so warped, and it makes me feel icky, Rob. I feel very icky.
Up. It's messed up. And it seems like in Gemma's mind, we saw Gemma talking to Tara's ghost last week, and then she referred to her as an angel this week. It's been a long time since we've heard Gemma speak so glowingly of Tara. What's going on there? Is there some sort of a rewriting of history in Gemma's mind?
I think that Gemma is a survivor. She's like Clay in that way. Clay was a survivor. He would do whatever he had to do to survive. And, we talked about Jax becoming Clay. Gemma's kind of becoming Clay. Gemma is doing whatever she has to do to stay alive and stay in the game. And that doesn't, right now, it doesn't involve killing every single person in her path. She's leaving Juice alive. Unser is alive right now, and she has... in the name of her goals, she has just cause to kill both of those guys, to get rid of both of them. But I think what she kind of has in common with Clay is this ability to justify things to herself. Clay would justify things to himself by saying, like, what I'm doing for the club. It's better that nobody knows what happened with me and JT. No one can know about this. No one can know about that. And Gemma's playing that same exact game. She's playing that game with herself. It's better that nobody knows about what I did to Tara, and beyond that, Tara was this wonderful person. It's a horrible thing that happened to her. So she is creating this kind of narrative that helps her sell what's going on here. It's interesting stuff.
For the good of the club.
For the good of the club.
You got to.
Got to.
Could we talk about Peter Weller's character and what's going on with him?
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
So what is the issue going on here with what are they paying $5,000 for right now?
I'm having a little bit of a hard time following this storyline. Best that I can figure is that the Mayans are bringing in drugs? Are they bringing in guns?
He doesn't like that all of the Mayans are set up in Stockton now.
No, he doesn't like that. I think that's because, well, one is I would imagine there's racial reasons, because everybody on Sons of Anarchy is a racist.
Most people are.
In
Sons of Anarchy. In Sons of Anarchy,
like 90% of the characters are racists. And apparently this guy is a rapist as well as a racist, this leader of the Mayans.
Yes.
So I think RoboCop as a cop is not very fond of this guy. I think, as a dirty cop, I think he feels like he still has some standards and does not want to work with these guys.
Okay. Let's jump into some questions from.
He's going to get killed, by the way.
Peter Weller?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't make it to the end.
No way, and I think the Mayans will probably unload on him.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take some questions here along the way. Jason Burning says, is Rat like Tig in Training? Yeah, that was one of the best scenes of the night, I thought, of Rat with Tig in the car, and they were sort of like following Lynn around. And so what did you think of Tig's makeshift, what would you call that, his go-to be inconspicuous move of pretending to be a guy receiving a sexual favor in a parked car?
Beats fake glasses, nose, and mustache, right? It's pretty good. No, it was very Sons of Anarchy, and very, very Tig. As for Rat becoming the new Tig, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think Rat's just psyched to be there.
Yeah,
Rat loves this.
I thought the funniest line out of that was, "Are you getting hard?" I thought that was I did laugh out loud at that part.
Probably because he is.
Yeah.
Tig, I think Tig swings every way. It doesn't matter if there's a hole. Tig is there.
Yeah, I shouldn't enjoy these crude Tig jokes as much as I do, but I do. It really does tickle me.
It tickles you.
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Tony, who says, what was the last song on the episode? Yeah, I thought this was a real step backwards after last week's epic Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I did not Shazam this song. Did you know what song this was?
I have no idea what it was. Maybe somebody in the chat room could tell us.
It was not Bohemian Rhapsody, though.
Yes. Okay.
Which is a shame, because Bohemian Rhapsody was very fun last week.
Okay.
Rob, are there any songs that you are dying to see on Sons of Anarchy that you think would be like horribly inappropriate on Sons of Anarchy, to like a scene a la the death of the Lynn Triad guy last week?
Let's see. Okay, so I would
like blurred lines, maybe.
Yeah, would you like to see them do sort of a current song?
Like Wrecking Ball would be good.
Yeah. Will it be Katie Seagal singing Wrecking Ball?
Of course. Without a doubt.
I bet she'd be good at that.
Yeah, I think so.
An acoustic Wrecking Ball, Katie Seagal?
Yeah, I think that could be pretty good.
That's brilliant.
Fancy?
Why not?
Yeah. Sam Crow Fancy, you already know.
John Wayne in the chat room is saying that he just watched the gunfight. He went back and watched it, and so the old guy, Jury, I guess, put the sawed-off shotgun in the gun bag himself.
Yeah.
So...
Awkward. Jury's in.
The jury's in. Okay. Jason has a couple of other questions. Tonight's moment of mayhem. I know 1,000 places to bury bodies. Okay. Josh, what do you think of the moment of mayhem? Of course, that was suggested by a number of our listeners last week. We said we want an award for the most outrageous Sons of Anarchy moment of the night. Happy saying he knows lots of good places to bury bodies. Will that be the moment of mayhem?
From this week's episode,
Yes.
I think that we decided that it's got to be like an actual act of violence, right? On these moments of mayhem.
Yeah, that's maybe we needed an award for the line of the night. Maybe that could be the task for the listeners this week.
Well, yes, I think if the listeners of this podcast can help us come up with the categories for the Sam Kroners at the end of this season, I think would be pretty solid. So you guys have your work cut out for you.
Oh my God.
As for the moment of mayhem, would you maybe could you say Tig and Rat in the car? That seemed like a moment of violence. Moment of mayhem.
Really, we didn't get any sort of gratuitous kills.
A lot of headshots.
A lot of headshots. Like, they did the Sons of Anarchy thing, which I find to not be... I never am too scared for the characters when they go, like, there's, like, a bunch of guys come up, and it's just like...
Yeah.
And then they kill, like, all of the other guys, and everybody from the Sons is, typically fine.
Yeah, and then they have some sort of chase sequence with corny rock music.
Yeah, with chase music. And so I always like these sort of murder scenes where there's sort of like, a couple people alone, and it's like some sort of like we actually know who's being murdered, as opposed to just a bunch of like Lynn's red shirts that got bumped off.
I think more often than not on this show, the fewer people in a scene, the better.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I would say that I will upvote the kills at the end of this week with Jax and Bobby and Chibs killing those two guys, killing Jury's boys. I think would probably be just by default the moment of mayhem this week. Not a ton of mayhem this week.
Okay.
Not a ton of notable mayhem.
Yes, so not a great moment of mayhem this week. At the end of the episode, Jax and Wendy exchange a look. Do you think there's a chance that Jax and Wendy get back together here?
I mean, I think that there's a chance just because it would aggravate me so much. And I feel like...
That's why they would do it?
I feel... I don't know. I don't think that's why they would do it, but like that's why I feel like it could go there. That's exactly the opposite of what I want to see happen here. But it could happen if they want to give Jax more of a really happy ending, that they will put him back together with Wendy. Maybe I could see it. Hope not. Would not like to see that.
Okay. Jason also says, I love that if Wendy cured cancer, Gemma would still call her the junkie.
It's true. Gemma has no love for Wendy. I mean, I think that she's seeing Wendy's usefulness right now, but even then, Gemma's she's really mean to Wendy.
Yeah. Do you think Unser would be invested in that cure for cancer?
He said, help me, Wendy.
Wendy, come on. Hook your brother up.
I gave you all those rides from rehab.
Okay, and also one more from Jason. How excited are you to see more Venus Van Dam this season?
Oh my!
I did not watch the preview, so I don't know if Venus Van Dam is going to be.
I did watch the preview, and there was no Venus Van Dam in the preview. That being said, it is out there that Walton Goggins will be reprising his role as Venus Van Dam at some point this season. I don't think that you could close Sons of Anarchy out with at least one more look at Venus Van Dam.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Venus Van Dam?
Yeah, I am. I felt like the second time that Venus Van Dam came back, though, I felt like we probably spent probably too much time on that storyline of, it was like too serious of a story then.
It's a very serious story.
Yes. It made it less fun.
Well, we'll see what happens when Venus Van Dam returns. Will Venus Van Dam survive Sons of Anarchy?
Yes. And I think end up with Tig.
I would be very happy with that outcome.
That's the happy ending for Tig, I think.
Listen, I would watch that spinoff as well.
Yes. What's going to happen with Juice here?
Well, it's probably not going to be good. What do you think of the Chibs phone call?
Chibs is going to have to take out Juice, right?
He's calling from a burner, so it's not like Chibs can trace that call back, I don't think. So I don't know. I think it's really more. It's indicative of Juice is like he's not going about this right, and it seems like he's just teetering. he thinks that maybe he can come back to the club. I think he's driving through Main Street Charming and looking around and being like, I actually kind of like it here. I'd rather not leave. Maybe I can do something about that. I don't know if he can do anything about that, but that might not stop him from trying. And if he tries, I think that could be very bad for Juicy.
How is it going to be found out that Gemma was the one that killed Tara? Will it be A, Juice squeals like at some sort of like execution and he blurts it out before they kill him, or B, will Unser crack the mystery?
Could it be a little column A, column B?
Okay. All right.
I think these two are both going to contribute to Gemma's downfall.
All right. So we will see where this goes and pick this up next Tuesday night here live on post-show recaps on Sons of Anarchy Live. Josh, do you have a hashtag you want to give people about this episode?
Well, since Tig Traeger tickled you so much this week, Rob, how about Tiggle? Hashtag Tiggle, Tiggle.
Tiggle. Okay, use the hashtag if you want to let Josh and I know you made it all the way to the end of this show and at least on some level consent to what you're seeing here on Sons of Anarchy Live. How about that?
Sounds good.
Yes. All right. So follow Josh Wigler on Twitter all week long. He's at Round Howard. I'm at Rob Sesternino. We love hearing what you guys have to think about the show. Please let us know your thoughts for the line of the night for Sons of Anarchy, so we can start that award also as well. Let us know either in the comments or on Twitter. And then also make sure you subscribe to our Sons of Anarchy feed on post-show recaps. You can get that at postshowrecaps.com/Suns iTunes. Postshowrecaps.com/Suns iTunes. Josh, what else are you working on this week?
Oh my gosh, a lot. The big one being that the 10-year anniversary of the series premiere of Lost is upon us. That's going to be September 22nd. It will have been 10 years since Lost first premiered. We've been doing a bunch of podcasts kind of in the lead up to that anniversary. I'm a big Lost fan, if you guys don't know that already. And this week we have begun the epic effort of ranking every single episode of Lost. From worst to best. This is going to be a project that takes multiple podcasts to get through. So we did the first one today. We ranked all the way through number 69, a number I'm sure Tig Traeger would be fond of. And we are going to continue ranking the best Lost episodes on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join us here on post-show recaps, we will be having another episode of Lost Lives. And then we're going to find some more time to do some more fun Lost stuff as well. It's going to be good stuff.
All right, and we've also got on post-show recaps, I previewed the fall TV season with Terry Taronis. That show's already up on post-show recaps. Plus...
Do you think that Tig is going to be watching, is it Jill the Virgin?
No, I don't think Tig watches anything on the CW. Either that or he watches everything on the CW.
I could see it.
That's right. Maybe. Who knows? Also, Antonio Mazzaro and Jeremiah Panhorst are covering the final season of Boardwalk Empire for us on post-show recaps. So check that out as well. You can subscribe to that show in iTunes at postshowrecaps.com/Boardwalk iTunes. All right. So a lot to do as usual, Josh. Can't wait to come back and see more Suns next week.
Yeah, it should be fun. Things are shaping up.
All right. Have a great week, everybody. Let us know what you thought about the show in the comments, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.